Welcome to Coffee Break with Rachel Vigil, taking a daily look at the biggest stories in Denver sports and interacting live with you, the Coffee Break fam. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of joe, and enjoy your coffee break. Here's your host, Rachel Vigil.
It is finally Friday. We can all rejoice. We are one step closer to another Denver Broncos game day. We got college football on Saturday, and we're giving you the 3 keys to the game for the Broncos to hopefully go in and beat a very tough Tampa Bay team. I'm excited about it. Also, I really just wanted to share, first of all, thank you guys so much for all of the love on my Rachel's Rants episode that we did on Thursday. I really felt all of the love, people engaging, all sorts of stuff. Let me know if you guys like that. Do we like a Rachel's Rants on a Thursday and then we do the 3 keys to the game on a Friday? Like, I'm really curious your guys' opinions. We obviously have the James Dubbo or duo early on in the week, but let me know how you feel about the Thursday rants, and maybe we'll like tie something in. I'm curious. And maybe you guys even submit what we're talking about at that point in time. I don't know. I'm just trying to think, but I got so much love on it. So I wanted to say thank you for yesterday so much. But 3 keys to the Denver Broncos for them to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. First of all, I think this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team is really good. They also have a really, really tough path to the playoffs now, essentially. Just real quick to give us like a little down low on the Bucs. Like, the Saints have kind of come out of nowhere, and I don't think anybody was expecting them to go in and beat Dallas the way that they did. So now you've got to include the Saints and the Bucs in there. The Bucs have obviously won the NFC South for the past 3 years. So it's like big time. Okay, is there actually another contender out there who can go possibly take that from them? And that might actually be a possibility when it comes to the Saints. We'll see. I thought that game was going to be a win for Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos, but the Saints are proving that might be a little bit harder on Thursday Night Football than I originally thought. But so anyways, back off my little rant right there. Tampa Bay and the Buccaneers. And Baker Mayfield, I think he's playing out of his mind. I think he finally feels at home. He feels appreciated. And when you feel appreciated at work, you thrive a lot more. And I think this is a really hard team. I think they're going to make it to the playoffs. I think it's going to be a battle for the Broncos this week. I think it's going to be a battle for Sean Payton. I think that it's going to be hard on Bo Nix especially, but I think the defense is where things have to shine. That's where it's been the shining light for the past 2 weeks, and I think that it needs to continue. But for one guy in particular, for our first key of the game, number 1, it's time for Zach Allen to shine. Yes, you heard me say that correct. It is time for him to just absolutely light up the stat sheet. Now, we've seen it the past 2 weeks. He has had such a huge emphasis on providing pressure for the Broncos defense, but we haven't seen it light up the stat sheet. No, this is the time. It's officially here for him. It's time. Aiden Hutchinson's for the Detroit Lions. He put so much pressure on Baker Mayfield, and for multiple reasons. First of all, he had 4.5 sacks and 1 forced fumble. Yeah, 4.5 sacks. He was able to absolutely light him up. Now, why was that? Besides the fact that Aiden Hutchinson is a beast. Let's just be completely real. Well, starting right tackle Luke Godsky is out. Godke is out for Tampa Bay. He's dealing with an injury. So what does that mean? Well, that means that guys like Jonathan Cooper and the dog, I love him, Zach Allen, yes, let's see you absolutely ball out. DJ Jones, would love to see you light up the stat sheet, but Zach Allen in particular, because he has been this close, it feels like multiple times every single week to getting a sack. I'm ready to see him light it up, get 4.5 sacks. Like, let's go down there and absolutely just have a day. So having their starting right tackle out is obviously a huge deal for the Broncos because the defense can then shine. But here's the one thing about the Bucs O-line. They do not give up very easily. Sometimes in the NFL, you will see guys that once whoever flies past them, they kind of stop blocking and it's over. They're like, oh, play's done. No, that's not the O-line for the Buccaneers. They do not give up. They allowed Baker essentially just enough room to become dangerous. They can hold on just long enough that he can become dangerous and stay in the pocket. So it's going to have to be a lot of pressure for this Denver defense to put on the O-line and on Baker to make him, 1, make some mistakes. Let's see it. 2, try and run and then get sacks. Like, let's see how all of that can play out. So that's my first one, is definitely that it's time for Zach Allen to shine. Also, like I said, it's just shining light, a bright moment for this Denver Broncos team. It's the Denver defense for sure. They've allowed the 11th fewest points in the NFL at 19.5. We're going to have to see that continue again because it's going to be tough for this Broncos offense to go against their defense. So they got to be able to keep them in the game if the Broncos are only able to put up field goals. instead of touchdowns. So that's going to be just a massive one for sure. Okay. Key number 2. Second key for the Denver Broncos to, in fact, beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is you got to go with the run. And I know it's been hard. I know. But we've seen them step away from the run multiple times, but they just have to figure out the run game. And that sounds so simple. And you're like, Rachel, well, of course they do. That's easy. Like, why are we even talking about this? Listen, I get it 100%. But here's the real reason why. No defense, none, not a single defense has had more pass attempts against it than the Bucs this year. 80 in 2 games. And guess what? They have not given up a single receiving touchdown. You heard me say that right. There is no other team in the NFL that has had more pass attempts on them with 80 of them, and they have yet not given up a receiving touchdown. They have to figure out the run game. The secondary for this Buccaneers team is too dang good. So guess what? It's time. You got to be able to do it. Plus, one of the best players for the Buccaneers, Vita Vea, is most likely out with that knee injury. So allow yourself to be able to move the ball. A defensive tackle, he's out. He's been such a game changer for them. Unfortunately, dealing with injuries, it's not 100% that he's going to be out, but it's not looking good for him. So you really have to be able to figure out the run in this situation. He left the game in the third quarter too, just to give you guys an update. Practice on Friday. We'll obviously see what ends up happening, but as of Thursday, nothing new right there. So we'll see what comes out today. But yeah, I'm like, you guys, you just got to figure it out. It's time. Javonte Williams needs to have a big day. I really wish Audric Estime was still out there, but Jaleel McLaughlin, it's time. You guys got to step up. You got to figure it out. But here's the only other thing too with the run is Bo Nix leads the running backs, it just sounds pathetic. But he leads the team in rushing. So the running backs aren't doing their job. Javonte Williams is coming in second with 40 yards, but Bo Nix is with 60. Now, I don't ever say run, quarterback, run very often. And trust me when I say I'm saying this very, very lightly. But the Bucs, when they played Jaden Daniels, could not stop Jaden Daniels when he went into a scramble. So Bo Nix has done really good at that. Yet I'm sure the Bucs are really going to look at this team and say, all right, Bo Nix runs a lot. He's the leading rusher for this team. Yes. So allow Bo Nix to run and hopefully able to gain some yardages. But yeah. This team is going to struggle with the run, so utilize it to your best advantage. This is like a terrible matchup, but also the best matchup ever, right? Between a team that cannot run and a team that struggles to stop the run. Like, who's going to win in this regards? I'm not entirely sure, but I do like the matchup. I think that it is really good, and I think it will possibly benefit the Broncos in this sense with Vita Vea being out. And that's the only reason I say that is because, again, he's just such an impactful person on that entire line that I'm like, all right, we need to see Javonte Williams do good. It's time. I don't think we can deal with another pass-heavy game. Like, I'm ready to see this run. And also, you just need to slow down the game for Bo Nix entirely. Let's be completely real, you guys. I see comments coming in about Sean Payton and having to deal with the timing and all of that jazz. And I get it too. Andrew Mason did a wonderful article at denversports.com. I feel like I've highlighted it almost every single day here on Coffee Break. Go check it out about the timing and everything when it comes to Bo Nix, and if they're able to get out of the huddle and just really, I don't want to say dumbing it down because that sounds really rude and like he doesn't need to dumb down the game, but like let's make it a little bit easier and slow it down for him, and that can be beneficial. And if you can do that, that helps with the run game, right? Like that helps Bo Nix a ton. Running the ball takes a lot of pressure off of Bo Nix, so they have to figure it out this week. I feel like I've just been ranting about trying to figure out the run. Like that's all they need to do. They can figure out the run. So many other things can open up for this Denver Broncos team. And I really, really hope that they can do it. If you guys had to guess, let me know in the comments. Who's the leading rusher this week? Is it Bo Nix? Is it Jaleel? Or is it Javonte? I'm really curious what you guys have to say in the comments over here. But my final and third key to the game is slow down the duo. Now you might be like, Rachel, who's the duo? Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. You got to slow them down. You can't stop them. That's nearly impossible, but they've been popping off. Chris Godwin especially. He had 7 catches for 117 yards and a touchdown last week against the Detroit Lions. That's a pretty good yardage compared to catches right there. So he's definitely having some moves. You're never going to be able to completely stop this duo, but you got to really figure out a way to slow them down. So the secondary, they got a lot on their plate this week, especially. Like I mentioned, this O-line for the Bucks can really allow Baker that extra time, that 1 to 2 seconds to be able to see a dangerous pass that can go to any one of these guys. So Pat Surtain's going to have his job set up for him. You also have Riley Moss, who both, it's going to be a tough battle. I'm not sure. My guess is that they're going to put Pat Surtain on Godwin, but Mike Evans is also a threat. And I have a feeling that we're going to see more cover 4 because these guys are such a threat compared to like press defense or cover 2. I feel like cover 4 is really where the Broncos are going to go for this, just because I think there's going to be a lot of deep play when it comes to what the Bucks are going to do. That's just my guess, but that's what I'm really assuming so far. I feel like I've been pretty correct. Also, Mike Evans is really freaking good against the press D. So like, I think you just got to switch it up. And I do like a cover 4 and allowing them to get help, especially on the side for Riley Moss. I think that can be really, really beneficial as well. Also, Vance Joseph on Thursday got asked about the penalties against Pat Surtain, which I knew this was going to happen. I called it. I think that teams are going to press Pat Surtain, especially after last week, especially after you saw a PI call and all sorts of stuff on Pat Surtain. I think teams are really going to continue to test him. And don't get me wrong, Pat Surtain is an amazing cornerback. He is phenomenal at what he does. But no matter what, almost as a defender, you kind of have the odds up against you because you do anything at all. And unfortunately, you could get called for PI like that. So I do think we're going to see more testing this year, Patrick Surtain, which I like. I like it. You got paid the big bucks, so you better be able to own up to it and, create some stops and be a game changer in this game. But Vance Joseph essentially said that, he's okay with Pat Surtain's penalty. One, because he does like the fact that his defender is on the ball and not off of the ball, which how can you disagree with that? So I'm kind of on that exact sense. I don't think it's Pat Surtain getting beat necessarily. I think it's almost, I can't say bad luck because he's obviously committing a penalty. Some of them I'm like, I could roll my eyes a little bit, but I do just think that it is one of those things where it's like, yeah, it sucks to get those flags thrown on you a bunch, and we're seeing it more and more and more. But Vance Joseph has a point of like, you'd rather have a defender who's on the ball than off the ball, and who knows what could happen at that point in time. Anyways, last one too. I saw, first of all, Pat Surtain wants to be involved in the return and special teams. I do not like this idea at all. I really don't. I'm like, I don't think we need to see you out there. How much money are you getting paid? Oh, yeah, a lot. I don't think we need to see you out there any more than we possibly need to. Just keep you out there for defense, especially because we don't need you getting tired. The defense is going to be spending a lot of time on the field. The minutes are going to start adding up. Pat Surtain, I'm sure you're in great shape, but I really don't want to see you out there for special teams. That's my personal opinion. I'm curious about your guys's. So those are my 3 keys to the game. One more time, let's roll through them. Number 1, it's time for Zach Allen to shine. It is his time. Let's go. We just need to see a big game out of Zach Allen. It's time. He needs to be an Aiden Hutchinson type player this week, and I think we could see really, really big numbers from him. If Zach Allen can complete 2 sacks, I think the Broncos look good on defense. If the Broncos if Zach Allen can get 3 or more sacks, I think that the Broncos have a better shot if they're able to actually move the ball on offense of winning this game. Like, I think that's how much of a game changer it can be for this Denver Broncos team if Zach Allen is able to put the pressure on Baker Mayfield. Jonathan Cooper, I feel like that can be a bigger one. Like Nick, pretty much everyone. I'm literally about to name out every single person, but you got DJ Jones, you got Zach Allen, you got Jonathan Cooper, you got Nick Bonito. Like, all of those guys just need to have a big day and really, really apply the pressure, collapse that pocket on Baker Mayfield, and don't allow him to throw down the middle of the field or to any of the receivers. And I think the Broncos could possibly walk away with a win if the Broncos can figure out the run. Go with the run. You have to stick with it, even if it sucks, even if it hurts, even if you feel like you're not moving the ball at all. You got to figure it out. Otherwise, you better start looking at the trade deadline, because the season's going to be over. Week 3, and it's going to be done. They're not going to be playing for anything, which will just be absolutely brutal for the rest of the season. And you better start looking at the trade deadline to say, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing in the off season? Is there anybody that you can get rid of? Like, all sorts of stuff. I don't think there's a running back on this team, unfortunately, who people will be like, oh, this is the guy. Maybe Javonte could be a backup somewhere. Jaleel McLaughlin, literally, I don't know if there is a market for him outside of the Denver Broncos right now. Like I said, Javonte could be a backup, right? Samaje Perine, we're seeing with him, with the Chiefs, he could possibly be a backup. But otherwise, these guys are struggling. And yeah, I don't know what the future holds. Running backs are recycled so quickly throughout the NFL that I just don't know. And then our last key to the game, slow down the duel, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. You got to figure out a way to slow them down. Big game for Riley Moss, for Pat Surtain, for the entire Broncos secondary. PJ Locke, I need you to have a really big game. Brandon Jones, I said it in my 10 observations. I've been like, hey, where are you? Waiting for you to show up and do something. So Brandon Jones would be another opportunity, but PJ Locke can't get beat this week. Riley Moss and Pat Surtain have to keep playing the way that they've been playing. And hopefully we cannot see as many flags, but that is going to do it for my 3 keys to the game. You guys, it is Friday. I'm about to go get my marriage license. How is that even real right now? So pumped. I appreciate you guys for all of the love every single time I hang out with you guys. Keep the comments coming on Twitter. Thank you so much for the love on the Rachel's rants that I did yesterday. And I hope you guys enjoyed the 3 keys to the game. Hopefully I'm right on all 3 of them. I feel like I've been pretty spot on when it comes to a lot of these. So let me know if you guys keep liking them. We've only got a few more weeks before I head out, but that is going to do it. I love you guys all so much, and have a wonderful weekend. Bye.